If your team is spending hours every week double-checking whether contracts meet regulations, or manually reviewing documents to catch compliance issues before they become legal problems, you're not alone. Most small businesses waste 10 to 15 hours per week on compliance checks that could be automated. In this video, I'll show you how AI automation handles these checks in minutes, not hours, and why this matters for your bottom line. Here's what compliance checking looks like in most small businesses. Someone on your team receives a vendor contract. Before you can sign it, they need to verify it includes all the required clauses, data protection terms, indemnification language, payment terms that match your policies. They open a checklist. They read through pages of legal language. They mark off each item manually. If something's missing, they send it back for revision. This process takes 30 to 45 minutes per contract. And if you're reviewing 5 contracts a week, that's nearly 4 hours of someone's time. The same pattern appears everywhere compliance matters. Your finance team checks invoices against tax regulations. Your HR department reviews employee documents for required disclosures. Your operations team verifies that supplier certifications are current and complete. Each check is important. Each one protects your business from risk, but each one also pulls your team away from work that actually grows the company. And here's the bigger problem. When compliance checks are manual, mistakes happen. Someone misses a clause. A certification expires without anyone noticing. An invoice gets approved even though it's missing required tax information. Those mistakes create legal exposure, audit failures, and financial penalties. AI automation changes this by doing the checking for you. Here's how it works in simple terms. You feed the AI your compliance requirements. These are the rules your documents need to follow. The required contract clauses, the tax regulations for invoices, the certification standards for suppliers. The AI learns these requirements. It doesn't memorize them like a human would. It builds a model of what compliant documents look like. Then when a new document arrives, the AI reads it. It compares what it finds against your requirements. It identifies what's present and what's missing. If the document passes all checks, it flags it as compliant. If something's wrong, it tells you exactly what the issue is and where it appears in the document. This happens in seconds, not minutes or hours. The AI doesn't get tired. It doesn't miss details because it's been reading contracts all day. It applies the same standards to every document, every time. You're not replacing human judgment. You're removing the tedious part of compliance work, so your team can focus on the decisions that actually require expertise. Let me give you a concrete example. A consulting firm works with government clients. Every contract they sign must include specific data security clauses, insurance requirements, and payment terms that comply with public sector regulations. Before automation, their operations manager spent half a day each week reviewing contracts against a 20-point compliance checklist. Now, when a contract arrives by email, their AI system extracts the document and runs it through compliance checks automatically. The AI scans for required language about data encryption, breach notification, and access controls. It verifies that insurance coverage amounts match the minimums in the checklist. It confirms payment terms align with government billing standards. Within 2 minutes, the AI generates a compliance report. Green marks for items that pass, red marks for items that are missing or don't meet requirements. Direct quotes from the contract showing exactly where each issue appears. If the contract is fully compliant, it moves forward for signature. If there are issues, the AI drafts an email to the vendor listing the specific problems that need correction. The operations manager now reviews the AI's findings instead of reading entire contracts. This takes 10 minutes instead of 2 hours. Over a month, this saves her 12 hours. That's time she now spends on client relationships and business development instead of checklist verification. Here's another example from a different industry. A property management company handles lease agreements for commercial tenants. Every lease must comply with local rental regulations. Include required disclosures about building conditions and specify standard terms about maintenance responsibilities and rent escalation. Their leasing coordinator used to review each agreement manually, checking 15 different compliance points before sending leases to tenants for signature. With automation, the process looks different. When their legal team drafts a new lease, the AI reviews it before it goes out. It checks that all required disclosures appear in the correct sections. It verifies that rent escalation clauses don't exceed local limits. It confirms that maintenance terms match the company's standard language. If the lease is missing a required disclosure, the AI highlights the gap and suggests standard language to add. If a clause doesn't match company policy, it flags the discrepancy for review. The leasing coordinator gets a clean compliance report within 60 seconds of the lease being drafted. Before automation, reviewing a lease took 30 minutes. After automation, it takes 5 minutes to review the AI's report and confirm everything is correct. They process about 20 leases per month. That's 8 hours saved every month from this one task alone. More importantly, they've eliminated compliance errors. In the year before automation, 3 leases went out missing required disclosures. That created legal complications and delayed tenant move-ins. Since implementing AI checks, every lease has been compliant before it reaches tenants. Let's talk about what this means for your business. The most obvious benefit is time savings. Tasks that took 30 to 60 minutes now take 5 to 10 minutes. Your team spends less time on checklist verification and more time on work that requires their expertise. For a small business checking 10 to 15 documents per week, this typically saves 10 to 12 hours per week. That's either half a full-time employee's time freed up, or it's overtime you no longer need to pay for. The second benefit is accuracy. AI applies the same standards to every document. It doesn't have bad days. It doesn't overlook details because it's rushing to finish before a deadline. Businesses that implement compliance automation typically see error rates drop by 60 to 80%. Fewer mistakes mean fewer legal issues, fewer audit problems, and less time spent fixing documents that should have been right the first time. The third benefit is consistency. Your compliance standards get applied uniformly across all documents, all departments, and all time periods. This matters for audits and for managing risk across your operations. And finally, there's a cost benefit beyond time savings. Compliance errors create real financial exposure. Missed clauses lead to contract disputes. Missing disclosures create legal liability. Failed audits result in fines. Preventing even one significant compliance failure often pays for the automation system several times over. Compliance checks protect your business, but they don't need to consume your team's time. AI automation handles the verification work quickly and accurately. Your team focuses on reviewing results and making decisions, not on reading through documents with a checklist. You get faster processing, fewer errors, and lower risk without adding headcount. This is practical automation that improves operations without requiring technical expertise to implement. If you're spending hours each week on compliance verification, this approach is worth exploring. If this was helpful, subscribe for more practical videos on automating operations in small businesses. I cover specific automation opportunities every week, always with concrete examples and real business results. Thanks for watching.